Hello and welcome to a brand spanking new CraftySimulations video. Now I know that this channel is really aimed at the general aviation side of flight simulation. However, did you really expect me to leave this aircraft on the sidelines? Did you really expect me to not fly this beautiful, well-created, awesome, absolutely amazing warbird? Today we're going to go back to 1940s and we're going to be flying the brand spanking new, it's only been released a few days now, but the FlyingIron Simulations FW190 A-8. This needs no introduction really as warbirds go. It is was a very capable warbird indeed. Now we're not going to try and concentrate too much on its past. We're just going to be talking about its merits, and flying I should say, but talking mostly about its merits as a flight simulator product. Now this has been created by the people, the lovely, fantastic people at FlyingIron Simulations. They have created some of the best warbirds here in the sim. And it's very hard for me to say this because normally, you know, a lot of people tend to think that warbirds don't belong in a Microsoft Flight Simulator product. You've got DCS. That's what they always say. If you want to fly a warbird, you want to fly a warbird that has guns and bombs and can do its job. That's why you have DCS. And there is a FW190 on there as well. However, if you just want to take away the fact of what this aircraft did during the war and concentrate on just how fantastic of an aircraft this is, boy, you are in for a treat. A little bit of background knowledge on the FlyingIron team. They have created the Spitfire, the Mustang, the Hellcat, P-38 Lightning, and did I say the ME-109? BF-109 even. And this is their latest aircraft, and they just keep getting better and better. I cannot stop flying this aircraft. I purchased it about 2 days ago, and I have flown it. Every time I go on the sim, I have to fly this. Even if I was going on the sim to do something else, I have to fly the FW190 because she be kicking. She be amazing. Now, you might work out I am pretty excited about this. I know there's a lot of content out there on the FW190, but I thought I'd have to create a little bit of content of my own. So we are here at RAF Waddington, and we are going to be putting the FW190 through her paces a little bit. So I would go through all the specs and facts and what the company says about their aircraft, but to be honest with you, it's not a case of bullet points. They go into immense detail of this aircraft, and I will be here for an hour and a half just talking of what FlyingIron say about the FW190, and I wholeheartedly believe every word they say because they have created an absolute wonder piece. There are people on the flight sim that rave over PMDG, I can't pronounce the aircraft. Those airliners, very expensive, absolutely rave about them. Me personally, not an airliner fan, but they are fantastic simulation products. Now for me, general aviation, you got the Just Flight, you got A2A, you got some pretty darn good, not forgetting Cow's the A42, but some pretty good general aviation aircraft. But when it comes to warbirds, there is a few other companies out there releasing warbirds, but not on this level. Just not even in the same ballpark, even in the same postcode as what FlyingIron have done with their previous aircraft, and this aircraft is the best by far. So I have pretty much raved over this aircraft, so let's show you what really it looks like on the exterior, because, and that's a terrible view, hang on a minute. My TrackIR is kicking in a little bit. So here we are, I'll try it again. It is a beautiful aircraft. No matter which way you look at this thing, it just looks absolutely amazing. And like I say, I cannot stop looking about this aircraft. It is absolutely amazing. Externals, it's just absolutely the pinnacle of what is creatable here in the sim. No matter where you look at this is obviously a worn warbird. Obviously where the feet, where the pilot stands to get into the cockpit obviously is worn, which is what I expect. I don't want a factory clean aircraft, but she just looks absolutely amazing. I will say, obviously, the elephant in the room, a certain marking on the tail, I will not mention it. mention its name, but it is correct in the fact of they do look like that. Okay, there is no, I don't think there's any repaints that's coming out that's changing that, and I don't want there to be repaints coming out to change that. I'm quite happy with the iron crosses and all that. That is the markings of the aircraft. They just changed, obviously, the markings on the tail for obvious reasons, but she's a beaut, an absolute beaut. Moving inside, ignoring the other elephant in the room, the sat-nav. Again, the GTM 530, not my favourite, but everything else is accurate. Absolutely, well, apart from the tablet being down there, and I'll go through that in a minute. Everything's in, or was in German. I have changed it so that it actually is English. I know it's not accurate, but I would like to actually understand the buttons I'm about to press. So everything on here functions just fine. Obviously, the armament page, the armament options, we have fuses, which I do believe are these ones, regarding armament. You can click the fuses, but obviously ain't nothing coming out of those weapons, and that's just fine with me. But everything else, you zoom in and it just looks absolutely beautiful. The Germans do have a different way of making their instrumentation, so things look a little bit different to what the norm would be for me. So obviously speed is in kilometers per hour. Sorry, no, speed is up here in kilometers per hour, about to say. I think that's the altimeter? Oh, not 100%. Yeah, I think it's altimeter. Compass, how much you're going up and down. Another compass. Atmospheres, that's to do with how much... see, I'm going to get this all wrong, but it's to do with your engine, and obviously the more atmospheres, the more faster it's going, I should say. I'm not going to go too much into the instrumentation, because like I say, I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to get it all wrong. Important things you need to know, obviously throttle, your undercarriage lever, so your flaps lever, so we have up, take off and down. We have a catch for the undercarriage, obviously. That's a nose trim section. Obviously these are all English labels, you kind of switch them back to German. I'll do that in a minute actually to show you. So that's your trim, that's important. Mags. Believe it or not, that's your pitch button for your throttle. This does not have a pitch lever. So a single engine Warbird would have a throttle lever, a pitch lever and a mixture lever. It don't have a mixture lever. It don't have a prop pitch lever. It has a prop pitch switch, which goes in automatic and manual. Stick obviously is all here. That's armament, not interested in that. T's and P's are down the bottom here, including fuel, I do believe, not 100%. That's to do with your position of your prop pitch. Again, it's done in a clock form. Obviously that is a sat nav that, yeah, I suppose there is Fokker 190s that do fly now, actually. They're replicas, and I would dare say they have upgraded avionics. You can remove that if you want to have a gun sight put on there. Moving on to the right hand side, we do have the fuse panels, which are all labelled up, and I will go through that when I'm going to start the aircraft. Fuel pump switches are down here. Like I say, that's armament. This fuse here, even though it is in an English section, because I've changed obviously the lettering, it's going to say destruction, and that is what you press if you want the plane to go bang. Now, I don't know if that actually is modelled, I dare say it isn't, but it's something that obviously the real Fokker 190 would have. Now, obviously, we're not interested in that too much. So, moving on to the EFB here. So this is a standard EFB for all those that have used FlyingIron aircraft before. So we start off with a checklist, and it does cover all the basics. I mean, it is quite a simple aircraft to start up and actually operate, but you do have your before engine start, afters, pre-flight taxi, run up, take off, landing and shutdown. So the basics are all covered here, and it doesn't, you know, interact or anything like that. You have to just remember that you know, the takeoff, landing gear guard goes up, throttle down to 2000 RPM or no higher than 2000 RPM. Engine parameters, you have to run down it yourself. Again, it's a fairly simple aircraft to operate. Your V speeds, obviously in knots and kilometers per hour, which is what we are set up in. I think you might be able to change that actually to speed so I can understand it. Live data, this is obviously when the aircraft is up and running, you can actually see how things are actually working. So the compass is moving a little bit due to the fact of I've no idea why the compass is actually moving, but it's moving. We have stats. Obviously, that's again for when we're live. We have our fuel. So we're carrying 524 total, with 232 in the front and 292 in the rear, and nothing in the auxiliary. And we have some presets for short range, medium range, and long range. We do have an autopilot. This aircraft, I don't believe, would have an autopilot. I'd be very surprised if it did. Again, it's like the Just Flight aircraft that I flew beforehand. The autopilot comes with a tablet, not with the aircraft, but it can still obviously interact with the aircraft just fine. Okay, so workshop. These are all in green because they're healthy, part of the oxygen system, which if I just click, refills the oxygen up. So this is an idea. A2A have this kind of setup in a lot more detail, but it gives you an idea of how much damage you're doing to the aircraft. I do believe I've actually turned the damage off because I cannot be bothered to deal with this. I dare say it is quite a handful to look after properly, and as you can see, some of those words are still in German. I have no idea what it is. Right, so this is the settings page. So we have a GPS thing. If I can just... Can we please go? No, I didn't want to do that. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so we can remove the GPS, and that puts the gun sight here and the gun sight equipment down there, so we're going to remove that. We can replace the modern pilot with a World War II pilot, so if we run outside, at the moment we're rocking the pilot that comes with the aircraft in his World War II kit, but if you actually get rid of that, it looks weird. We can also hide the pilot, we can hide the control column, we can hide the spinning prop. The prop on this has a good animation on it, so I don't know whether this takes up some of the FPS or some of the effort to run the aircraft, run the sim. It is an effect, obviously. You can remove that. In fact, if I just do that, does it change anything? No, it doesn't. Probably holds it in one place. We have simplified ground handling. Now, this more comes from my love and hate of the wrong company, FlyingIron Spitfire. Now, the Spitfire has narrow track undercarriage and a rather unique way of taxiing around on the ground, which means it is a sod to move around on the ground. So all the aircraft come with simplified ground handling, which just make it a little bit easier. So with simplified steering, rudder is linked to the left and right, even brakes. So we are a tail dragger aircraft. It's not a powered tail wheel, and we would be using differential braking and thrust airflow over the rudder to actually taxi the aircraft. So I keep that on to just make things easy for myself, really. We have an install radio and transponder. I think that was down the bottom, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so that was that thing there. If we click it on, we've got a realistic radio and transponder, which obviously aircraft would have. This is the fun one, replacing German with English. So if we go back to the Germans, I nearly started doing German then, we end up with words like that. And I ain't got a clue. I looked at this first time I installed it and went, I literally haven't got a clue. I had to watch a video on how to start the aircraft up. But luckily, you know, we can just tweak it a little bit. So stress and failures are turned off on this one. That's your tablet colours. And we have some ground equipment we can put on, and pushback. Don't need pushback. So yeah, that is basically this aircraft in a nutshell. And in a few minutes, you're going to hear some of the best sounds here in the sim. Absolutely jaw-dropping sounds. And I'm going to start that aircraft up because I do need to change something in a minute, and I will be back to you, like I say, in a minute. Now, sorry about that. I was just checking on my TrackIR. For some reason, it wasn't particularly working well. So, as you can see now, she is working just fine. So, let's get this aircraft started up. So, I'll actually turn the TrackIR off at the moment because we do need to turn on some fuses. Right, so we need a landing gear. So obviously the black switch means on, the red switch when that's up means that's off. So we need to obviously turn on our landing gear, our repeater, our engine generator, our artificial stabilizer trim even, prop pitch, prop drive, flaps, landing gear, very important. Now we'll have the radio turned on. Moving up to the forward one, we'll have not that. No, that. Go away. Go away. Shoot. Thank you. Fake spots. I just love them. Battery on. Generator on. Fuse. Igniter. Ignition even, I should say. Pitot not yet. Flight suit heating not needed. Navigation lights will have on. Flight instrument will have. Gun sight and armament not needed. I think that's correct. And we'll have. We can put an external power cart onto this aircraft. It's not really needed. With the forward tank on and the rear tank will go on as well. So that's all set up. Moving over to the oxygen system. Turn that on. Move on to this doohickey, and I'm going to say there's lots of doohickeys. We have to turn this one all the way up to the top. Let that wind back. Now when I set that, that's the prop pitch I was saying that obviously this aircraft does not have a lever for it. This is your priming pump. We'll just let this go all the way down. It's got quite a bit to wind out. Actually, while we'll do that, we'll prime the aircraft. So what you do is you click on this, and it'll be quite quick, and then you keep clicking it. I can't get my words out. Keep clicking it till it goes slow, and give it 1 or 2 pumps on top of that, and that should be enough to have the aircraft primed. So we'll just do like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. It's slowing down. 9, and we'll give it 1 for good luck. So that's all set. Actually, I can't remember if I have to wind this all the way back. I'm trying to remember this now without doing the checklist. I know it has to go to the 12 o'clock position, then the half 12 position, so let's... I might have actually gone the wrong way on this one. It's wonderful how the Germans create a different way of doing something that just baffles me, for instance. So we'll just let this wind back up again. Does take its sweet time. There's 12:30, that will do nicely. So now I put it into auto. Right, so let's just centralize everything so everything's nice. So this aircraft has an inertia starter system. What's going to happen is I'm going to press that lever that I couldn't, that I was keeping activating, pull that back, press the handle in, and you'll hear the inertia start to wind up. Once it reaches a point where the sound is not going up anymore, then we have fun and press the start button. What we also need to do is, well, set the throttle to the start position, which is rather uniquely placed there. I am also going to open up the cowl flaps, which are obviously on the side of the aircraft we all need. Right, so we are set with the brakes. With parking brakes you get the wheel chocks there, but that's fine. Right, so like I say, best sounds in the sim for a warbird. In fact, we'll run this one outside. Sound's now gone to its maximum. Let the fun begin. Just going to lower the audio down a little bit. She'd be a noisy aircraft. Right, shows she's low. Actually, we're going to shut the canopy. If I can hear myself think. So, temperature is coming up just fine. Fuel gauge is fine. I think that's a fuel gauge. I'm not 100%. I'm sure it's litres. Reset the trim. Zero it. What you have is a trim switch, which is a tiny little switch, but would have been interesting back in the day. Flaps are going to set to take off. Gear is obviously down into green. So the flaps are down. Just listen. That is an amazing sound. Right, let's get everything set up. Control check. let's get out of the way then. Coming off the brake. She sounds like an absolute bag of bolts. But that is typical of radial aircraft. They do not sound smooth like, let's say, a Merlin. Of course, the FW190 in real was a shock to the Allies. They were used to flying against the BF109, which is a very capable warbird in its own right. But when this thing came out, it's fast, it's heavy, it's very well armed. It was a real shock to the Allies, and they had to create the Spitfire Mark V, I do believe, to counteract the FW190. She was that much of a threat. And just looking at the level of realism, just look at the controls there, just gently shaking with the vibrations of the aircraft. We'll just do our little final checks before we get to warbird in the air. Parking brakes have been set. Right, so flaps are at takeoff position on both sides. We've got the little check tabs there that show the flaps are down and indicated that. Trim is set to 0. Prop pitch is set to automatic. Fuel is good. I do believe we're ready to rock and roll. So weirdly, if you look at the checklist for this aircraft on its takeoff roll, you need to have the undercarriage and flaps up before a certain speed. I can't remember what the speed is, but I do believe you'd still be on the ground at that point. So as soon as we get up, as soon as we get airborne and we've got flight, we will be putting the undercarriage straight up and the flaps straight up. So, final checks. Let's take the fuck off out. Feeding in the power. Airborne, gear up, flaps up. We'll keep ourselves nice and low. So just checking that everything's up, everything is retracted. And retrimming the aircraft out. She looks magnificent. Quite a bit of low cloud here, so we're going to see if we can find our way back towards Waddington. Didn't quite bank on there being such a low cloud. In fact, what we're going to do is cheat. If I just pause the sim a bit, if I bring the Rex up, weather, this is how basically I get my weather up, so we'll raise that up. For some reason, I can't get rid of the weather with this old-fashioned way. That's better. Do apologise for that. Now trying to get our bearings, so we've now got the autumn sun to deal with. Beautiful. Simply beautiful. That sun is absolutely annoying as all heck. Microsoft weather. No, not that. Let's have clear skies. Don't normally like to do that, but didn't really have much choice. Let's go back to what the fuck does best then. Evading menace in sight. very powerful engined aircraft, a brute thug, if I'm perfectly honest. The elegance of P-51 Mustang, it is not. Even though the BF109 was designed as a fighter, it could be armed with a bomb, 250 kilogram, I do believe, but the Focke-Wulf 190 here was designed to be a fighter bomber, so it could carry a lot more external ordnance and become a very good strike aircraft. Being developed by the legendary designer Kurt Tank, who created quite a lot of genius designs. The Focke-Wulf 190, for instance, like this being the A-8, I don't know how many sub-variants of the Focke-Wulf 190 there is, but a lot of them came out with differing engine powers and capabilities. I do believe that it's a Focke-Wulf 190 that has a different set of wings on it and was actually capable of reaching ridiculously high altitudes. It was designed to shoot down reconnaissance aircraft of the Allies. So coming in for one more pass and then we'll go into our landing circuit. One stage, abs are out, left and right. Cowl flaps still open. Get down. Tail draggers, it can be a bit of a handful on landing. You don't want a ground loop. Just a case of balancing out the throttle with the speed. Got a nice long enough runway, and we are landing on tarmac. Flaps down for landing. backtrack up the runway to get to our taxiway. He looks and sounds absolutely amazing. Sounds even better when you got the head out of the canopy as well. Oh, let's just find the battery. Oh yeah, I forgot click spot. Go on. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. Oh, there we are. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very rare nowadays you get an aircraft that comes out for the flight simulator, no matter what style of aircraft that comes out, and you just immediately know that it is the best of that particular chosen type of aircraft. Warbirds might not be your thing. You might like your airliners, you might like your general aviation, but this is a fantastic aircraft, make no doubt about it. FlyingIron make some of the best, if not the best, warbirds in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Spitfire was amazing. The Messerschmitt Bf109 was freakishly scary, but also a challenge and also a simply amazing aircraft. This is better than those two. It's absolutely simply amazing, simply astonishing. It's available at the moment, obviously, from FlyingIron's website, where I purchased mine from. I don't know whether it's or when it's coming out for the market, I think FlyingIron do make aircraft for the market, but, you know, obviously things like the weapons do tend to upset a Sobo a little bit. But, like I say, I don't know when it's going to come out for that. As of this video, I don't believe it's out yet for the marketplace. But yes, if you're into warbirds and you like a bit of history in your aviation, check this aircraft out. It is a astonishing aircraft. It is fairly easy to fly. Standard issues on landing regarding tail draggers. Nothing to do with this particular aircraft and the way FlyingIron have created it. But it looks amazing. It sounds amazing. It is amazing. This is a 10 out of 10 warbird. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions about the FlyingIron FW190 A-8, please bang them below. I'll get around to answering them. And I shall see you guys and girls in a future Microsoft Flight Simulator video very, very soon.